For many, the very word family conjures images of warmth, unconditional love, an impenetrable sanctuary from the chaos of the world. It's the place you're supposed to feel safest, most understood, most yourself. But for just as many, perhaps even you, that idyllic picture shatters the moment you step into a family gathering. Instead of comfort, you find a crucible of judgment, expectation, and unresolved conflict. Instead of solace, a subtle, draining battleground where your emotional reserves are constantly under siege. You've been told to cherish family, to forgive, to seek harmony, to always prioritize blood. But what if that conventional wisdom is precisely what's keeping you trapped, vulnerable, and perpetually exhausted? What if the secret to navigating the most brutal family confrontations, to standing unshaken amidst the emotional crossfire, isn't about striving for an impossible peace, but about embracing a radical, almost forbidden, form of emotional detachment? What if the path to your ultimate inner sovereignty lies in understanding that some things, even within your own bloodline, simply don't have to define you? Stop everything you think you know about family dynamics, because what I'm about to reveal will change how you interact with your relatives forever. Picture this: another holiday dinner. The festive decorations, the aroma of a home-cooked meal, the forced smiles. It's a performance you've grown accustomed to. But beneath the surface, the familiar tension simmers. A seemingly innocent question from an aunt about your job search quickly escalates into a full-blown interrogation about your life choices, laced with thinly veiled disapproval. Your parents, with the best intentions perhaps, offer unsolicited advice that feels less like guidance and more like a direct, personal critique, chipping away at your confidence and making you feel like you're perpetually falling short. You find yourself back in that familiar dynamic, where your achievements are minimized, your opinions dismissed, and your boundaries routinely ignored. Maybe it's the subtle, passive-aggressive comments from a sibling that sting precisely because they know your vulnerabilities, or the way old childhood rivalries resurface, transforming a casual conversation into a competitive arena where you're always fighting for validation you'll never truly receive. Perhaps it's the crushing weight of family expectations, the pressure to pursue a certain career path, to settle down by a certain age, to conform to a specific lifestyle that simply isn't yours. You've experienced that profound sense of feeling perpetually misunderstood, haven't you? That exasperating cycle where you try to explain yourself, to defend your decisions, to simply be heard, only to be met with blank stares, stubborn resistance, or outright dismissal. It's like speaking a different language, a different reality. The arguments recycle, the grudges linger for years, casting a long shadow over every interaction. You find yourself caught in a suffocating web of emotional obligations, where your authenticity feels sacrificed at the altar of keeping the peace. The emotional toll is immense. You leave these gatherings feeling not refreshed, but utterly depleted, disrespected, and profoundly alone. You've internalized the guilt, the shame, the insidious belief that you must be the problem, or that you're somehow failing in your duty to family. You yearn for genuine connection, for acceptance, for a sense of belonging, but all you encounter is perpetual emotional warfare. And in those quiet moments, you've surely asked yourself, is there truly any escape from this relentless, soul-draining cycle? Is it possible to love your family, yet refuse to be consumed by their chaos? To honor your roots, yet stand firm in your own truth? But what if everything you've been taught about navigating these relationships is fundamentally flawed? What if the conventional wisdom, to always seek harmony, to compromise, to extend endless empathy, is precisely what has left you vulnerable, exposed, and emotionally drained? There's a different path, a path less traveled, one that doesn't promise to fix your family, but promises to make you impervious to their chaos. We're not talking about superficial coping mechanisms or endless rounds of therapy that revisit the same traumas. We're talking about something far more radical, far more profound, a nihilistic lesson. Now, before your mind conjures images of despair, apathy, or a descent into meaninglessness. Understand this critical distinction. A true nihilistic lens isn't an invitation to abandon all value. It is, in fact, the ultimate tool for meaning creation and radical self-sovereignty. It's about recognizing that much of what we perceive as absolute truth, especially within the confines of family dynamics, are merely arbitrary constructs, inherited narratives, and unspoken rules that lack any inherent, universal meaning. Thinkers like Friedrich Nietzsche, who spoke of creating one's own values in a world devoid of inherent purpose, or Albert Camus, who championed finding freedom and meaning despite the absurd nature of existence, offer more than just philosophical musings. They provide a blueprint for a profound internal resilience that transforms you from a reactive participant in family dramas into an unshakable observer, a strategic player in the game of your own life. This isn't about becoming cold or uncaring. It's about becoming impervious to the emotional manipulation, the guilt trips, the subtle digs, and the crushing expectations that have historically held you captive. It's about reclaiming your power, understanding that the only true authority over your well-being, your peace of mind, and your personal boundaries resides unequivocally within you. This is the hidden truth, the ultimate strategy for the unshakable, for those who refuse to be mere pawns in someone else's game. It's about transforming your family battlefield not into a place of surrender, but into a proving ground for your own self-mastery. Prepare to see your family and your place within it through an entirely new, liberating lens. In the comments below, declare, "I choose unshakable inner sovereignty from today." Now, let's delve into the core principles that will transform you from a reactive participant into the grandmaster of your own inner world. These aren't mere suggestions. They are strategic imperatives for anyone ready to claim their unshakable inner sovereignty. Embrace the absurdity. Man is condemned to be free, because once thrown into the world, he is responsible for everything he does. Jean-Paul Sartre, your family operates within a complex web of unspoken rules, inherited traditions, and deeply ingrained expectations. These aren't universal laws. They're arbitrary constructs, often passed down through generations, lacking any inherent, objective meaning. Consider the pressure to pursue a specific career path, perhaps to become a lawyer or a doctor, simply because it's the family business or what we do. Or the expectation that you must always agree with an elder's outdated political views during a Thanksgiving dinner, lest you be seen as disrespectful. Most people either try desperately to fulfill these expectations, often sacrificing their own desires, or they rebel overtly, creating friction and guilt. Both paths leave you entangled. The nihilistic approach frees you by revealing these constructs for what they are: man-made agreements with no ultimate authority over your existence. You acknowledge their presence, understand their lack of objective power, and consciously choose your own path, unburdened by the illusion of their absolute necessity. This isn't defiance for defiance's sake. It's a strategic recognition that your life's meaning is yours to forge. Sever the strings of approval. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you'll find strength. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most insidious traps in family dynamics, is the relentless pursuit of approval or validation from your relatives. We are conditioned from childhood to seek their praise, their affirmation, their nod of acceptance. But when you internalize the truth that their opinions, their criticisms, and their judgments hold no ultimate meaning to your self-worth, their power evaporates. Your value is not a commodity to be granted by external forces. It is an inherent, self-derived truth. Think of the parent who constantly critiques your lifestyle choices, from your living situation to your diet, making you feel perpetually inadequate. Or the sibling whose dismissive remarks about your achievements or hobbies chip away at your confidence. The majority of people crave this family validation, allowing it to dictate their emotional state and self-perception. You, however, will cultivate an internal locus of validation. Their judgments become mere noise, irrelevant to your inner peace. Your strength comes from within, impervious to their shifting sands of opinion. In the comments below, declare, "My worth is self-defined." Surrender the illusion. There is but one truly serious philosophical problem, and that is suicide. Judging whether life is or is not worth living amounts to answering the fundamental question of philosophy. Albert Camus, reinterpreted. The only control is over your own perspective, not external events, especially others' behaviors. This principle is a stark, liberating truth. You cannot control other people. You cannot control how your family members act, react, or perceive you. The endless energy you might have spent trying to mediate an ongoing family feud or attempting to convince a relative to change their deeply ingrained political or social views is a futile exercise. It is a source of endless frustration and emotional depletion. Accept this fundamental truth. Recognize that your sphere of influence is limited to your own responses, your own boundaries, and your own expectations. Most people exhaust themselves trying to fix or control their family members, believing that if they just try harder, explain better, or love more, things will change. You will redirect that precious energy. You will focus solely on managing your own internal landscape, understanding that the only true control you possess is over your own perspective and actions. This is not apathy. It is strategic self-preservation. Cultivate emotional distance. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. Friedrich Nietzsche applied to enduring difficult family situations by having a stronger personal purpose that transcends the conflict. This isn't about becoming cold or uncaring. It's about not being consumed by the emotional drama that often defines family interactions. Imagine yourself as a grandmaster observing a chess game. You analyze the patterns, anticipate the moves, and respond strategically rather than reacting emotionally to every provocation. When a relative makes a hurtful, passive-aggressive comment, instead of feeling the immediate sting and lashing out, you observe. You see their insecurity, their pattern of behavior, and you choose a neutral, non-committal response that doesn't feed the drama. You create a mental buffer, a strategic distance between their actions and your internal peace. Most individuals get swept away by the immediate emotional tide, reacting impulsively and getting entangled in cycles of conflict. You will maintain a strategic, detached vantage point, preserving your inner calm and preventing their chaos from infiltrating your mind. In the comments below, declare, "I observe, I do not absorb." Choose your battles wisely. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Sun Tzu, not every slight, every disagreement, or every provocation from a family member warrants your full emotional or argumentative engagement. Recognize which issues truly matter to your core values, your self-respect, and your well-being, and which are merely noise, attempts to draw you into their drama or irrelevant opinions that have no bearing on your life. Your energy is a finite resource. Conserve it. For instance, you might choose to let go of a minor, repetitive annoyance from a relative, understanding that engaging would only escalate a trivial matter. However, you would stand firm on a clear boundary violation that impacts your mental health or personal space. Most people engage in every skirmish, draining their resources on battles that don't matter. You, the strategic player, will conserve your energy for what truly aligns with your self-sovereignty, picking your moments of engagement with precision. Assert your boundaries. Freedom is not worth having if it does not include the freedom to make mistakes. Mahatma Gandhi adapted freedom to choose for oneself, even if it disappoints others. The nihilistic perspective empowers you to wield the power of no without guilt. You can decline demands, expectations, or invitations that infringe on your autonomy, drain your energy, or violate your personal boundaries. Your self-worth is not tied to pleasing others, especially when their desires come at the cost of your well-being. Consider the common scenario. A relative insists you attend a family gathering that you know will be a toxic drain on your spirit, or they demand intimate details about your finances or relationship status, pushing past every reasonable boundary you've attempted to erect. Most people, conditioned by years of familial obligation and the fear of upsetting the apple cart, find themselves trapped. They say yes when every fiber of their being screams no, only to simmer in resentment, anxiety, and self-betrayal. They endure the emotional exhaustion, the invasive questions, the thinly veiled criticisms, all under the guise of family duty. But this nihilistic lens grants you a profound liberation, the permission to say no without the crippling burden of guilt. It's not about being rude or disrespectful. It's about recognizing that your autonomy, your mental peace, and your personal energy are not commodities to be freely given away at the altar of someone else's expectations. Your worth is not determined by how much you sacrifice for others, especially when those sacrifices diminish you. You learn to politely but firmly decline the emotionally draining holiday dinner, or to calmly pivot away from a topic that a relative insists on bringing up, stating, "I'm not comfortable discussing that," and then holding that line. It's a quiet, unyielding assertion of self. While the majority feels obligated and suffers in silence, you will prioritize your well-being, asserting your limits with a calm, unwavering conviction that stems from an internal understanding of your own value. This isn't selfishness, it's self-preservation. It's the strategic move of a player who understands their own resources and refuses to squander them on battles that aren't theirs to fight. Now, let's talk about the stories we tell ourselves, and more importantly, the stories others tell about us. This brings us to author your own story. There is no ultimate meaning to life, but we are free to create our own. Albert Camus. From the moment we're born, our family begins to weave a narrative around us. You might be the smart one, the black sheep, the peacemaker, the problem child, the one who always worries, or even the golden child. These labels, often assigned in childhood, become entrenched, shaping expectations, limiting potential, and dictating how you're perceived and treated within the family unit. Imagine being perpetually labeled the artist who needs to get a real job by your family, even as your creative endeavors begin to flourish, or the screw-up who constantly needs rescuing, long after you've built a stable, successful life for yourself. These narratives are powerful, insidious, and often entirely out of sync with who you are today. They are relics of the past, imposed by others, and they attempt to define your present and future. Most people become trapped by these family narratives. They subconsciously play the roles assigned to them, fighting against them, or trying desperately to conform to them, forever living within a script written by someone else. This is a profound disservice to your authentic self. The nihilistic perspective empowers you to recognize that you are the sole author of your own story. You are not merely a character in their generational drama. You are the protagonist of your own existence. This means you have the absolute freedom and the responsibility to consciously step out of any imposed role or label that no longer serves you. It means understanding that their narrative about you holds no objective truth, only subjective meaning within their own minds. You can choose to detach from the black sheep label, not by trying to prove them wrong, but by simply living your truth independent of their judgment. You can redefine yourself as the independent thinker, the successful innovator, or the self-made individual, regardless of what old family stories dictate. This isn't about erasing the past or denying your history. It's about refusing to be confined by it. It's about understanding that your identity is a dynamic, evolving creation, not a static monument built by the opinions of others. You're not bound by their expectations, their projections, or their limited understanding of who you truly are. You consciously choose to rewrite your own narrative, independent of their script, affirming your right to self-definition. This radical act of self-authorship is a cornerstone of inner sovereignty. It's about refusing to allow anyone, no matter how close by blood, to dictate the terms of your existence. While most remain trapped by family narratives and expectations, you will consciously rewrite your own, independent of their script, becoming the master storyteller of your life. In the comments below, declare, "I author my own story." You've now armed yourself with 7 potent strategies, each a crucial piece of the armor against familial emotional warfare. But these aren't just isolated tactics. They're interconnected pillars designed to create an impenetrable fortress around your inner world. This isn't about merely enduring family confrontations. It's about fundamentally transforming your relationship with them and, more importantly, with yourself. Consider the cumulative effect. When you embrace the absurdity of inherited expectations, you instantly disarm the guilt and pressure that once dictated your choices. No longer are you bound by the invisible chains of what family does or what you should be. Then, by severing the strings of external validation, you reclaim your inherent worth, making criticisms and judgments from relatives as inconsequential as background noise. Their opinions, once capable of sending you into emotional turmoil, now merely bounce off your self-defined value. This liberation is compounded by surrendering the illusion of control. The exhausting cycle of trying to fix, change, or convince family members dissipates, freeing up immense mental and emotional energy. You stop banging your head against a wall, recognizing that your power lies not in manipulating others, but in mastering your own responses. This strategic redirection of energy is vital. It's what allows you to cultivate emotional distance, observing family dynamics like a seasoned chess player, anticipating moves without getting emotionally entangled. The passive-aggressive remark, the thinly veiled jab, these become predictable patterns, not personal attacks, because you've created a buffer zone where their drama cannot penetrate your peace. And with that buffer, you gain the clarity to choose your battles wisely. No longer do you engage in every skirmish, draining your finite resources on trivial disagreements or ego contests. You discern what genuinely threatens your core values versus what is simply noise, preserving your energy for the moments that truly matter. This isn't about apathy. It's about strategic resource allocation. When you combine this with the power of asserting your boundaries, you establish clear, non-negotiable lines that protect your mental, emotional, and even physical space. Saying no without guilt becomes a potent act of self-preservation, a declaration of your sovereignty that communicates, without aggression, that your well-being is paramount. Finally, authoring your own story is the ultimate act of self-redefinition. It's the conscious rejection of any narrative, label, or role imposed upon you by your family, allowing you to step into your authentic self, unburdened by past expectations. You become the protagonist, the sole architect of your identity, rather than a supporting character in someone else's drama. This isn't just a mental exercise, it's a profound shift in your very being. This isn't a call to abandon your family or to foster animosity. Quite the opposite. By applying these principles, you're not closing yourself off, but rather opening yourself to a more authentic, less reactive form of engagement. You are creating the space to interact with family from a position of strength, not vulnerability. You are choosing to be present, but not consumed. You are choosing to love, but not at the expense of your own soul. This path requires courage. It demands an unflinching look at deeply ingrained patterns and a willingness to challenge the very foundations of how you've been taught to relate to your kin. It's a radical act of self-love in a world that often demands self-sacrifice, especially within family units. But the reward is profound, an unshakable inner sovereignty, a peace that cannot be disturbed by external chaos, and a freedom to truly be yourself, regardless of who is in the room. You transition from a pawn, constantly reacting to the whims and pressures of others, to the grandmaster of your own inner world, orchestrating your peace with deliberate intention. You reclaim your agency, your dignity, and your emotional energy. This is the ultimate psychological leverage, understanding that while you cannot control the actions of others, you have absolute authority over your own perception, your own boundaries, and your own narrative. It means that the next holiday dinner, the next unsolicited piece of advice, the next subtle jab, will no longer hold the power to dismantle your inner calm. You will observe, You will choose your response, and you will remain unshakable. This is the ultimate freedom in family dynamics. In the comments below, declare, "I am the architect of my peace." This profound shift, this declaration of inner peace, comes with a crucial understanding. A nihilistic lesson, as we've explored it today, is not a blueprint for emotional abandonment or a license for cruelty. It is not an invitation to sever all ties, to cultivate apathy, or to shirk your responsibilities. Far from it. This knowledge, this radical perspective, is a formidable tool for self-preservation, for achieving a profound internal resilience and an unshakable sovereignty over your own emotional landscape. It's about engaging with your family, and indeed the world, from a place of strength and self-possession, rather than from a vulnerable, reactive, or emotionally depleted state. Think of it not as building walls to keep others out, but as fortifying the foundations of your own being, ensuring that no external storm, no matter how turbulent, can erode your inner calm. This isn't about destroying relationships. It's about transforming your role within them. It's about being present, truly present, without being consumed. It's about loving, perhaps even more deeply, because that love now springs from a place of genuine choice and self-respect, rather than obligation or fear of judgment. You are not abandoning empathy, you are refining it. You are not becoming cold, you are becoming resilient. This wisdom is for your protection, your peace, and your freedom, not for manipulation, not for destruction, and certainly not for fostering animosity. It is the ultimate act of self-care, a strategic move to ensure your well-being remains non-negotiable, even in the most challenging family dynamics. It empowers you to navigate the complexities of familial bonds without sacrificing your soul, allowing you to honor your own truth while still recognizing the humanity in those around you, however flawed their actions may sometimes be. This is the difference between being a victim of circumstance and a master of your response. It's about building an internal sanctuary that no one can breach, no matter how hard they try. So what does this truly mean for you, starting today? It means you stand at a crossroads, facing a choice that will redefine your future interactions. You can choose to remain a pawn in the ongoing family drama, perpetually reacting to the whims, expectations, and projections of others. You can continue to allow their words to sting, their judgments to define you, their demands to drain you, constantly shaken by external forces beyond your perceived control. This path, the path of the unexamined life, is one of predictable emotional attrition, leaving you depleted and resentful after every encounter. Or you can step onto the path of radical self-mastery, transforming every family confrontation from a draining emotional battle into a profound opportunity for personal growth and the unwavering assertion of your own unshakable self. This isn't just about surviving family gatherings. It's about thriving in your own life, unburdened by the emotional baggage that has historically held you back, allowing you to allocate your precious energy to pursuits that truly fulfill you. Remember the initial promise, to stay unshaken. Now you possess the blueprint. You understand that the chaos of family dynamics, the absurdity of inherited expectations, the futility of external validation, none of these hold ultimate power over you. Your power lies within your perception, your boundaries, and your narrative. You are no longer merely a character in a script written by others. You are the grand master of your inner world, orchestrating your peace with deliberate, strategic intention. You are reclaiming your agency, your dignity, and your most precious resource, your emotional energy. Imagine the next holiday dinner. The same relatives, perhaps the same subtle digs, the same unsolicited advice. But this time, something is profoundly different. It's not them, it's you. Their words, once sharp arrows, now glance off your fortified composure. Their expectations, once heavy chains, now simply dissipate into the air, losing their grip on your psyche. You observe, you choose your response, or you choose no response at all, and you remain utterly unshakable. This isn't a fantasy, it's a profound, attainable reality. This radical perspective, This nihilistic lesson frees you to define your own value, set your own terms, and author your own destiny, independent of the familial pressures that once dictated your emotional state. It grants you the ultimate freedom in family dynamics, the freedom to be truly, authentically yourself, without apology or compromise, and without allowing anyone to diminish your light. The choice, as always, is yours. Will you continue to be tossed about by the relentless tides of family drama, forever at the mercy of their emotional currents? Or will you anchor yourself in the unshakable certainty of your own sovereignty, becoming an island of calm in any storm? This is the moment you decide to take command of your internal landscape, to declare your independence not from love, but from debilitating emotional entanglement. This is your declaration of self-mastery. Understand this clearly. The profound insights we've uncovered today, this nihilistic lesson, must not be misconstrued as an endorsement for apathy or a retreat from compassion. This isn't about abandoning the genuine affection you may hold for your family, nor is it a call to shirk your responsibilities. Far from it. This radical framework serves as your ultimate defense. It is a strategic guide for fortifying your inner world, for achieving a deep, unyielding resilience that allows you to engage with family dynamics from a position of power, not vulnerability. This knowledge is exclusively for your protection, for safeguarding your peace of mind, and for securing your personal freedom. It is not a tool for manipulation, not for causing harm, and certainly not for fostering animosity. Its purpose is to equip you to uphold your integrity, to maintain your emotional balance, and to prevent the emotional turbulence of others from dictating your internal state. It's about preserving you, so you can choose how and when to connect, rather than being compelled by external pressures. With these principles, you transcend the common narratives of familial struggle. You move beyond the cycles of blame and the burden of unfulfilled expectations. This journey transforms you from a mere participant in your family's story into the conscious author of your own. You gain the profound ability to observe, to discern, and to respond with deliberate intention, rather than react impulsively. The emotional weight that once crushed you will lift, replaced by a quiet, indomitable strength. This is the path to truly living your life on your own terms, liberated from the emotional chains that once bound you. If this deep dive into unshakable sovereignty resonated with your spirit, if it illuminated a path you're ready to walk, then hit that like button right now. Your engagement helps us bring these vital truths to more individuals who are searching for genuine liberation. Subscribe to this channel for more radical insights that challenge the status quo and empower you to master your inner world. And in the comments below, I want to hear from you. Which specific family dynamic has challenged your resolve the most? And which of these powerful principles will you commit to implementing first in your life? Let's build a community of individuals who choose to be unshakable.